Hello guys, welcome to Skytear 101. This is Apple speaking. Today I'd like to try to give you some strategic tips that I hope that can be of some help for players that maybe have understood how the rules works, but they are still struggling somehow with the strategic. These are not intended to be like golden rules that were true all the time, that will be true all the time, but I think that mostly when you are going to be in doubt, this kind of tips that I often use in my match can be of help for you. So the first tips that I'd like to provide you is when in doubt, use the hero that is most obvious, that is going to be the most obvious move. So here in this setup on the 2 lane, I have on my side the yellow and the blue heroes, while my opponent has the red and the green heroes. So I need to start thinking what I'm going to do here, and as you can see, there is a bunch of opportunity that can be done. For example, Haburat is in range to try to go for some blood to attack Sakushi, which is here. On the other hand, here we might want to go with Gubrian either to attack Tatlakali or to do some pressure here on the minions, and the same can be done for Korjov, or maybe both of them can go in the dome. So as you can see here, you have a lot of options. So if you are in doubt and you really don't know from a strategic point of view what it can be best for your strategy, I suggest here to think about Akuti. Akuti mainly do one thing. Akuti is a control hero, so he is in a really nice spot to do what he do best. So here, for example, Akuti can just simply worship here, one action, attack one of the minion, so he can do she can do her abilities on her other minions to take down 2 minions and then simply lead both from hand or the deck as you wish. So this move would not surprise anyone, but on the other hand would not provide your opponent an idea on what your main goal is, because maybe you just want to forget the lane and try to win the dome, or trying to kill Kotlik, which is something that you may want to do. So if you do this, you don't tell your opponent what your end game is. This is a very standard opening, and as I'm saying, when you are in doubt, try to use the most obvious heroes to do the most obvious thing. And the when in doubt, do the most obvious move can apply also to the Hessian Pass maps. In this situation, I have the red and the green heroes, and my opponent has the yellow and the blue heroes. So here again you have a bunch of opportunity, because with both Kotlik and Sakushi you may want to go for some blood. For example, you may want to try to kill Korjov, that, as you know, is one of the weakest heroes. He's really strong, I really like Korjov, but he is also weak. But as you can see here, Korjov is really far, so it's not really easy to get any closer to Korjov. So it may not be that wise to try to go after Korjov right now. So again, here I think that the most obvious move, the one that it's not unexpected, is that Yami try to do some minion clear. So if you start moving Yami and do, for example, just a 1, 2, 3 move, you can kill this minion here. Then maybe you may want to kill another minion here and just lead, for example, or something like that. But I would say that here this is one of the most obvious moves that Yami can do. Or for example, Yami can move, so do some wave clear and then worship on Korjov and maybe attack. This is another way to do this. But I think that in this situation, Yami is the one that is useful to start first because, I mean, your opponent knows what Yami can do and what he is going to do. So she may do some wave clear and she may do some damage. So it's not really some unexpected, some that you can, from a strategic point of view, do to surprise your opponent. So also in this situation, I would suggest to do something like that and to think. So when you are in doubt, what is the most unexpected, the most expected move, the most obvious move that you can do, and this is probably the most useful move that you can do in this situation. My second tip, my second suggestion is that if possible, no hero should be left alone by himself or herself. For example, in this situation here on my right lane, I might want to go for some pressure on the minions, for example, because you know here we have right breach for as a win condition. So we might want to go for killing minion or even try to take down Tlakali, and we know that Gubrian and Korjov together can actually do this. But let's take a look of the pieces on the board. If we want to move Gubrian first, which can be nice because Gubrian can move, attack the minion, or for example just from here skirmish and go after Tlakali, you can see here that in both these situations Gubrian is going to be really far away from Korjov. He is no longer within 3 axes from Korjov. And then when your opponent is going to play, Korjov is going to be alone by himself, and Kartli really easily can, for example, go for skirmish and attack and maybe do some other stuff with cars, and so Korjov is going to be really in danger. So we might want to either start on the other lane to have the two heroes within 3 axes, or maybe if we want to start on this lane, it could be useful to start with Korjov, for example, going here so that he can do some interesting stuff on this lane, but still is within 3 axes from Gubrian. Why is this important? Because in this way, if for example Catholics want to go after Korjov, Gubrian can be of help, for example, with some healing cards with to healing Korjov, or maybe some sinkhole or some other stuff to try to help Korjov defending himself if you don't have enough cards with Korjov by itself. So this is my tips. If you don't have a really solid strategy, you should always think that it is better to have your heroes always within 3 axes from each other and in line of sight with each other. So you will have an advantage of power cards that can be used to defend yourself after your opponent attack and strategy. The no hero should be left alone tips also works in Action Pass. For example, in this situation, I might want to use Yami first, as discussed earlier, because I mean, Yami, she's so strong, so she can kill this minion by moving here, then she can attack this minion and lead. Or, for example, she can worship on Korjov here, attacking Korjov, and maybe also skirmish or whatever. But as you can see, if Yami does something like that, again, she's going to be really far away from the poor Sakashi that is going to be really close to Haburat, and this can be really dangerous for Sakashi. So my suggestion here is to think, unless of course you have another solid strategy in your mind, for example some defensive card or something else that you can do. Maybe you might want to keep Sakushi within 3 axes from Yami, for example going here, and so Yami can for example protect Sakushi from Haburat somehow, and Sakushi can be still in the bush, but in a more safe positioning as before. Remember please that all these tips or the suggestions are not golden rules, and of course you always have to think on what power cards you have in your hands. But when you are in doubt, again, I think that it is a good idea to try to have as much as possible all your heroes within 3 axes and in line of sight with each other, as much as you can. The third tip, the third suggestion is whenever it's possible, you should try to move your weakest hero as last. This mostly apply for the opening, for the start of the game, which is one of my favorite topics in Skytear. So for example, when you start a game like that, you might want to think on the order of the heroes that you want to activate. Of course, Tlakali is always one of the first hero that you want to move, because you know with his worship he can protect your minion. But besides that, you may be tempted to go for an early move with Korjov, that, as we said, a lot of time like all the mages actually, but also the marksmen, they are really weak, they are really fragile, so they die really easily. So if we are thinking to move Korjov as one of your first hero, for example on the lane here or here, in this situation you are in a very dangerous situation, because for example Sakushi can go here, worship and attack, because with the worship, for example, Sakushi will have line of sight against Korjov, also from the dome. And again, also with Yami, maybe Yami can just move right here or here and then worship and attack. So Korjov is going to be really in a dangerous situation here or even here, because as we said, Sakushi can attack him from the dome, and also Yami can do the same from the dome and then worship. So I suggest that you should try to move your weakest hero as the last when you are doing your opening. Also, this suggestion, so to move your weakest hero as last, applies also in Action Pass. I would say that it is most important in Action Pass, because as you know, Action Pass is about blood. So in this situation, I have Korjov, I have Akuti, and I have Aburat here. So Korjov now is in a relatively safe position, because he is far from Yami, far from Sakushi, far from Kotlik. So if you try to do anything with Korjov first, you will be nothing but closer to the 3 opponent heroes. So this is going to be a very dangerous situation for Korjov. So again, unless you have a very solid strategy in mind and you have defensive cards, my suggestion is to think to move Korjov as the last hero and try to move the other ones before, and keeping in mind again the other tips that I have gave to you. So the thing that if someone else is in line of sight with Korjov, maybe Korjov can be helped by the other heroes. So I'd like to end this episode of Skytear 101 with, I think, the most interesting part of Skytear, and definitely my favorite topics, which is the openings. I really believe that everyone should build its own opening as long as they build their deck, because of course you need to put a lot of effort in your deck, but again, after that you need to think on how do you want to open the game with the heroes, with the list that you have built. I'd like to provide you an example with, I would say, my favorite 4 heroes. I use them a lot, and as you know, this is one of the strongest composition so far. So I'd like to introduce you with my personal openings with these 4 heroes. I'm sure that several other players has different openings with the same heroes, and this tells you how deep Skytear actually is, because with the same heroes you can actually open the game in very different way. My suggestion is to think about an openings right after you have built your list, because having an opening will let you have a strong first turn, and not really that you need to think in deep on each of the moves, because if you have a versatile openings, you should be quite confident that you are prepared for starting your game with some advantage. So let's see my opening here, what it is. So I usually put the four heroes in this position, and since you can both push with Astrida on the left and Ekrit on the right, there's not really a choice here whether if there is left bridge or right bridge, because both lanes can be pushed. So this is something that I like to start with in this positioning. So I usually start with Shiravi, and first I'm going to shapeshift Astrida. That's usually my first things. Then I simply move here and then lead from the deck or from the hand, depending on whether there is left breach, right breach, and of course of the opponent heroes. Then I usually go with Astrida, and you can go here on here depending on your opponent heroes, because if your opponent heroes has heroes that can push like Ekrit or Zakwal or Shadrus, or maybe Kumaya that can reduce your line of sight, you might want to get a little bit closer to the control token. But on the other hand, if your opponent has all aggressive heroes, maybe you want to just stay here. Then, after the move, you will likely attack one minion, losing 2 HP with Astrida abilities to spawn another minion. And then, after that, you can lead again, and again you can choose hand or deck according to the win condition. So in this way you're going to push on both lanes quite nicely. Then usually the thing that the third hero is Ekrit, and Ekrit everyone knows her signature opening move, that is of course move, worship, and attack, but be aware that you can do this in quite different ways. So this is the start down position, but you can also place the illusion here, for example. You can place accurate here, for example. This depends on the other heroes that are in the dome, and if you want to have the illusion inside or outside the dome. But this is usually the most common opening. And having this kind of opening, it is really good, because now you push on the right lane, you push on the left lane, and then Freyel can actually do very different things depending on what your opponent has done. So if you want to do an extra control for the lane, you can, for example, just skirmish him and dealing some damage to other heroes into the dome. Then you can worship Astrida and hopefully get her to full HP again with Freyel abilities, and then you can end your turn by lead again with accurate, so that you have a strong control, maybe with a lead from the hand. And so you are going to have 2 heroes and 1 lead from the hand. But if your opponent is not really interested in the dome, of course, Freyal can also go, for example, to an additional push on the left lane, for example, or you can maybe go here, but this is less common, because on this side you will have usually a good pushing. Or you can just go inside and skirmish and attack again. So as you know, Freyal, especially when she is shapeshifted, she can do very serious damage, because she will have piercing, and if you have healing cards in your hand, you can also provide damage with Freyal. So in this setting, I almost always activate Freyal as my last hero, because she can do very different things. So this is my version of the openings with these 4 heroes, and I hope that you liked. And I want to say once again that, of course, those are not golden rules, that they are good all the time, so you always have to think on what your opponent do, and the cards, the heroes, and everything. But I will say that the tips that I'm telling you, and this opening works probably most of the time. And now I would like to welcome here as a special guest my very good friend, and I know that everybody here knows the unstoppable Kalibra. Welcome, Kalibra.
Hello guys. Thank you, Abdus, for having me here.
Thank you, Kalibra, for joining me in this video. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'd like to have you discuss a little bit on this setup that you call the Ixataxi, which is, I think, a really nice setup. So, Kalibra, what can you tell us about this setup and the good opening that can be done with this setup?
All right. Well, Ixataxi is my favorite hero. I think Ixataxi has everything. Like, he plays very well when he has to go for control markers and more like a control game. But also when you need to be more aggressive, he's very good as well, because he can carry the assassins with him to do the damage. He can also deal a lot of damage with his armor and shields. Well, there's a lot of possibilities with him, right? So, but talking about openings, there are a few openings that I like to perform with this combination. And I have here my main heroes for this deck. Actually, the Ixataxi is my main hero, right?
Okay.
And Akla, I would say, is the wingman for this combination. All right. And if you guys want to check it out, I think there is in the deck list in the website. There's a Ixataxi Worlds. That's the list I used on the last world. Actually, Apples, we played the first game, right? And I did that opening
We did.
against you.
And the Ixataxi is always very fun to play against. Even sometimes can really crush you if you don't pay attention, because
Yeah.
can be really strong. And I always like it. Yeah.
Okay, do you mind if I talk about my, I think, what I call for myself my very basic opening for Ixataxi?
Yeah, go for it.
So I like to do something here. I like to go with Akla first. When I have a setup that I need to play more aggressive, you know. So I like to go with Akla, and then I move to the center with Akla. I know Akla is not very strong, like no armor, but anyway, if you want to put some pressure on your opponent, you go with Akla, and then you worship here, and you can perform an attack on Ekrit, or maybe if you worship here, you could choose one of these two heroes, right?
Yeah, nice.
So that's the thing. Now you think, okay, but Akla has 0 armor, 15 life, is very weak. I would just come here and attack him with Shilavi, for
Yeah.
instance, because Shilavi is an assassin. Yes, you can do that, but you have a problem, because with this pillar here, Ixataxi can easily move here, worship, and let's say bring a chemo with him right there, right?
Yeah.
And then Akima will be ready to attack Akrit, and Akrit was already attacked by Akla, you know? So the thing with Ixataxi for me with this opening is that from the very first move, I give my opponent a very hard choice to do. If you go for the pillar and you don't attack Akla, of course you're safe. Like I will not do the taxi with Ixataxi, but I would have advanced one of my heroes and no damage to him. So that I would call a very basic opening with Ixataxi, this Ixataxi idea, because you move to the center, you place the pillar, you do whatever you want to do. If it's Kotlik instead of Akla, you could simply lead from the hand or from the deck, you know?
Yeah, that's really nice because, for example, in this setup, let's say that I choose to go, I don't know, with Freyel or maybe Shilavi. I can go, for example, here for attacking the pillar, but of course, after that, Freyel can be easily uh, attacked, for example, for a chemo again, if Freyel want to destroy the pillar, or
Yes.
if Shilavi came here to attack Akla, again you can do you can do your move and choose to attack Akrit or choose even to attack Shilavi, right?
Yes, she's going to be very exposed. Like Akla would be very exposed as well, but it's a trade, you know, like in chess. I'm
Yeah.
trading heroes, right? So another thing about Akla especially, I don't care that much if he dies on turn 1 or 2, because I want him on turn 3 for sure to cast his ultimate, you know?
Nice. Yes.
So it's a hero that I'm willing to trade. I would trade Akla for Ekrit or Akla for Freyhel
Yeah, yeah.
easily, you
Yeah,
know?
I see your point because in this way, maybe Akla can die turn one or maybe turn two before activation, and then actually it means that Akla can return actually at turn three, and then can do a lot of damage with his ultimate. So I see your point.
Yeah.
And if you
Yes,
may,
for me,
yeah, if you kill Freyel and Akrit, or Akrit in the very first turn, can be really difficult for your opponent to keep up.
yes. Of course, it will depend how my opponent plays and what cards they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
bringing to the game. Of course, like this is not like a like an all win and like a certain win strategy. There are
yeah,
a lot of things a lot of ways to counter this, but when I like to play like this because I like to play aggressive decks, and it's first of all it's fun. I have lots of fun playing like this.
Yeah, and I think
And
that
then
the matter in Skytear is always to make move that pressure your opponent, right? Because I mean there are no win-win moves. You always have to give something, as you said. So it is really good to force your opponent to make hard choices, and I think that this deck can do this.
yes, and imagine also if you play safe, my opponent plays safe, okay? So let's say you do something like that. I attacked accurate, and okay, let's play safe. I'm gonna come with free hell here. I attack the pillar, and then I shapeshift or whatever. I lead from hand.
Yeah.
Like Akla can easily play something like this, Rings of Talab,
Yeah.
and then I place a pillar right here, or maybe yes, it has to be within Akla's line of sight. But anyway, I place the pillar and I perform the taxi again.
Yeah.
So it's very good. Like this is a very good choice. Of course, there are many counters. You can destroy the pillar in so many ways now, but still, I'm forcing you to make hard choices and to spend your resources attacking a pillar. That's the thing.
Yeah, nice.
Well, this I would call like the very basic Ixataxi opening. What you want is to place a pillar close to the nexus, so you can like put pressure on the nexus from the very first move.
Nice.
But the opening that I played with you against you on the first round of Worlds is my favorite opening so far. You do so many things on first turn. And Ricardo told me about this opening like the day before. You know what? That was the day before the Worlds.
Nice.
I was playing with Tlacali instead of Yami.
Okay.
And then I played against Ricardo. It was a very nice game. And he said, why don't you use Yami instead of Tlacali? And I said, why? And then he showed me this. And then my mind was just blown. So do you mind if I talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, go for it. I want to see this. I want to hear that.
It's a very nice opening. This opening that I'm going to show is not very strong against Ekrit, but I'm going to show it anyway, because if you have no Ekrit here, but you have Brilvar or any other hero, that would be really strong, especially if I go first. So let's say I go first, and I have Ixataxi and Yami right here. So I activate Ixataxi, and before declaring any action, I play Dreams of Talbot.
Okay.
I place a pillar right here. That would be the first thing I do. And then my first action is going to be a worship, right? So I'm going to blow this pillar, and I'm going to put the pillar right there. And then Ixataxi is going to move 6. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3, and I don't need to move that much. All right? Okay. And now Yami gets to move 6 as well. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And before actually activating Yami, I get to
nice. Yeah.
Try this minion,
Yeah, but because of the ability of Yami, because we can see here that Yami, when the first time moves through an enemy minion, she deals 1+ damage to hit. So this is really nice. It is really nice.
Yes, with the taxi you can move Yami 2 times. Like you can move her twice. Oh, actually, she can move twice with the Ixataxi. She moves with the Ixataxi, and then I'm gonna move later in her activation, right?
Nice. Yes, so, because the move passive ability of Yami works also with the move of Ixataxi because it says move. That's really clever.
Yes, because she moves. It's not Ixataxi moves and then she moves.
She moves.
And the first time she moves, every activation she can deal 1+ damage to a minion.
Yeah, because the card doesn't say in her activation. Yeah, nice.
Yes. But then there's a second part of this movement, because I did worship only, right?
Yeah.
So now I can, with Ixataxi, I can move here as my second action, and I can do something like lead from hand or lead from deck, whatever. Yeah. But then on your first activation, these 2 guys here would be slow.
Yeah, they are going to have slow, yes, because of the pillar.
So you can see the efficiency of this opening because you move 2 heroes, you kill a minion, you place a pillar, you lead, and then you give 2 heroes 2 conditions. I think it's the best opening I've ever seen on Skytear, actually.
Yeah, it's really nice. And actually, why do you tell that it's not good against Akrit? I think that it's great against Akrit because if Akrit is slow, she cannot do the standard opening because she is going to be slow. And unless your opponent has a card in his hand to take off the slow, you really prevent the classic opening of Akrit. So I think that it is really
True.
nice for the
True,
even
but
against Akrit.
there's a tiny problem. There's a tiny problem. It's the only weakness of this opening, I think. One of the weak when accurate or shaders, or if you have the flux, I need to be very careful because let's say Freyhel does something like control this lane here, right?
Yeah.
And then Akri can skirmish, worship right here, and push
Yeah.
Ixataxi outside of the game.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
That's the only weakness, you know, like you need to be really careful. Of course, there are ways to counter it, like Amulet of Immovability
Yeah.
or something else, but this is very risky. But if you don't have Ekrit or Shaders or Zakol there, and your opponent doesn't have the flux, I would say it's 100% safe.
Yeah. Nice.
So I like this opening very well, very nice, very much.
Yeah.
So and then look, there's another thing here. Like Yami is not activated yet, so she can activate and go whatever she wanna go, right?
Yeah.
And what I like to do after I do this opening is move Yami adjacent to Ixataxi, right?
Yeah.
Because when Agla activates and does something like this, I could move again with Yami, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you know, with Ixataxi.
Yeah. So
Then I
she
can
can
declare
change the
another
lane. Yes, really easily.
Yeah, attacking this means so. These 2 pillars here, they're very nice, and when Ixataxi is adjacent to Yami, you can do lots of stuff. You know.
Nice.
I would say this is my favorite opening. If I have to play control, like I do that. Actually, I carry a card with Yami that is very unusual, but it works with this setup, which is Guide.
Ah, nice.
It's a red-green deck, but I have this blue card.
Yeah, it's card that we don't see a lot, but it is somehow unexpected. So it's nice. It's really nice.
Yes, you don't see it coming, and also for a aggro deck, this is perfect. Three rooms plus 1.
Yeah.
It's all we want, you know.
Yeah.
So
I can
it's
help
really
you in defending you for a very strong pushing deck because you can push the token back a little bit and can give you time to kill their heroes.
Yes, you can defend from evasion, which is like the weakness of a very aggressive deck is the full control, right?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, nice.
So and for a full control game, invasion I think is the most dangerous victory condition.
Yeah.
So if you find a way to defend yourself from invasion, you can manage to hold one lane and the center, and then you would stand a chance against like a full control deck, you know.
Yeah, you're right. And you have time to kill their heroes. Yes, of course.
Yes, you need time. That's the thing. You need time. You don't want to lose invasion turn 2.
Yeah, you're not going to win by invasion, but the important thing is you don't want to lose too soon by invasion. You just need time to kill their heroes. Nice.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very important thing you just said, like time, you know, the timing of things is very important. So, okay, let's say you have like, you play full aggressive decks and then it flips like invasion, right reach and left reach.
Yeah.
Well, you have to, you have to defend yourself the whole game.
Yeah.
And hope for killing like 2-3 heroes one turn and be able to push, or even going for a draw and then win by killing heroes, more heroes than your opponents. So.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
if you don't have any means to defend yourself from invasion or left and right breach, it would be very difficult to win the game. You know.
Yeah, 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 I agree.
But I have to say that it's not very easy to play like this, and it's very risky. I don't win that much, but that's what I told you like in the beginning. I have so much fun playing with this list that
Yeah.
I really don't care. But it's very risky.
Yeah, it is,
It's not,
but it's. I mean, it can be strong. So
it can be.
it's not true that you don't win that much. Come on,
I
you
win a
do
bit,
win. You do
but
win.
when I lose bad. You know, I really lose.
I see.
I lost our game, man. I lost our game. So,
Yeah,
but it was a very good game. It was a
it
very
was
good
a
game.
really good one. Yes, it was really a very good one. Point by point.
On that
Exactly.
point, and Kumaya and that quick shot
Yeah.
that to seal the deal. It was very nice.
Nice. Nice. So thank you, Calibra. So do you want to add something else before we close to your Ixataxi?
I would say for whoever is watching that go to the deck builder, the decks library on the website, and give it a try. You know, try this deck, see if you like it, and you can also find me on Discord to discuss to I don't know to give me some suggestions how to improve my deck and to have fun with it. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Calibra. Thank you very much
Thanks.
for all of you that are watching these videos, and see you again on Skytier 11. Bye bye.